We trippy, man. Well, hope everybody's doing good out there in TV land. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph. Thank everybody for watching. Do me a favor, get active in the chat. I need your interactions. In order for me to do what I need to do, I need your guys' interactions. But before we get started, like I always do, got to send a shout out to the sponsors. So if you don't want to do a podcast like what you're watching, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fit Boxer. And if you're looking for a clean, genderless, no crash energy drink, go to dubby.com, w.com, and they're going to get you right. Use my promo code JUKE for 20% off. And then make sure you go follow us. Right now, we're trying to run up the numbers. I'm approaching 60 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you all for participating and subscribing. Make sure you go follow us everywhere. Subscribe at Juke Network. Follow us at Juke Network on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Like the He Say, She Say channel. Once I get to 100 followers on Facebook, I'm going to move everything over. Follow us at Juke Sports Show as well on Instagram. And I got some big things coming at the top of the year involving another podcast. But I'm going to release that at a later date. And so let's get into it, man. Kirk Cousins been struggling over the last couple of weeks, but they've been staying afloat. Originally, the topic was, should he be benched? He has officially been benched. Michael Penix, the Michael Penix experiment, we will get to see it next week. Is it the right decision? And ultimately, man, I think the only thing that was holding on was the fact of, one, you just gave Kirk Cousins a big contract. I know it's ended up being $50 million a year for an aging quarterback coming off of a Achilles tear. So in the end, I agree with it. I think that you shouldn't have signed him if you were going to make this decision. You probably should have gone with someone, but at least Kirk was good enough to keep them afloat to where now they can go with Michael Penix and still be in the playoff hunt. So in the end, I do believe this is the right decision. I think that Kirk Cousins was keeping them afloat, but when you're struggling to beat the Raiders, and to be honest with you, I'm going to get in that in a little bit, I don't think the Raiders are trying to win. I think they're trying to get the best draft pick that they can get while also looking like they're trying so AP doesn't get fired. And so I do think in the end, struggling, you ran the ball 36, 37 times. Kirk Cousins only throws 17 passes, and that's your $50 million quarterback. Let's go with the young guy, relatively, because I think he's about my brother's age, and my brother been out of high school for 7 years at least at this point. So I think that this is the right decision. Michael Penix, let's see what he got. And he has weapons, a little bit of mobility. I wouldn't say he's the most mobile. He is coming off of 2 knee injuries in his college career. So, but at the same time, I think that he's going to bring a new energy and life to those to the offense. And he has weapons. Pitts, London, Mooney's been balling. Ray McLeod, still got Algier, as well as Bijan Robinson. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to see what you can get from him. And he's going to be stepping in day one playing meaningful football. All right. So I've been seeing this clip going around. And it's this white dude going off, and he's like, they got to play, homie. They got to play, homie. They got to play, homie. And they were arguing whether or not players should sit out meaningful or meaningless bowl games. And I just think in the end, I never liked it from a competitive standpoint. I understand injuries are bound to happen when you play football. But when you think about it, it's like you can get hurt doing anything. People have torn ACLs, Achilles, life-changing injuries, draft-changing injuries, doing practice, doing warm-ups, running on the field, Greenlaw tears his Achilles running on the field in the Super Bowl. So you can get hurt doing anything. You can get hurt in practice. You can get hurt in training. If you're me, I'm a man of faith. I'm not pushing this on anybody, but this is just my journey in life where as a man of faith, if it's going to happen, it's just going to happen. And there's some times that you can't do anything about it. And there's some things that you can't control. I think that from the competitive spirit, and then now the fact that these players are being paid, they're paid employees. They're no longer just student athletes. They are paid employees making billions of dollars for these schools. If you're going to sit out meaningless games, but it's also games I'm paying you for, then you got to get some of that bread back. And so I think in the end, I think players should, in the end, make the best decision for you, but also understand what that comes with. If you're going to be sitting out games, then at some point, you got to be willing to give up that check. And so talk about the more meaningful bowl games. College football playoff is officially set. We got number 12 Clemson going over to Austin, Texas to play the Texas Longhorns. We got Tennessee going up to where is it at? In we're going up to Columbus and playing Ohio State. SMU is playing Penn State. Indiana, with a really surprising year, is playing Notre Dame. I think this one's going to be a more intriguing one because of where they're playing. They're playing in South Bend. South Bend is in Indiana University. So it's essentially it is a road game, but it won't be from the sense of the location of everything. And to dive into it, man, I think that I just got this feeling that Indiana, they played really good football this year. Offense was playing very well. Notre Dame has been really good as well. But in the end, I am going to go Notre Dame. It will be upset, and Indiana will be moving on to play Georgia. I could just be going for the name, but I just think in the end, Penn State's going to be a little bit too much for SMU. And SMU, yeah, it's their road ends here. Really good, successful year moving over to the ACC, getting to the championship game, representing the ACC in the college football playoff. Now that we've expanded to 12 teams, I like it. You got Oregon, Georgia, Boise, and Arizona State all getting a bye week. So Clemson and Texas, they get Arizona State, which I don't know. Maybe it's just the names, but Texas finna beat the brakes off of Clemson, and they finna beat the brakes off of Arizona State. That's just my way of thinking. Maybe I'm tweaking in the end, but I just don't really see. I think Arizona State, given the fact that they're they won their conference, is why they got the bye week. I think what they ended up doing is whoever wins their conference gets a bid into and end up getting the or it might not be. It might just be the top 4 seeds end up getting it. And with Arizona State winning their conference, you get a bye week. I could be wrong on that one. But like I said, Clemson and Texas are going to play Arizona State. Tennessee and Ohio, whoever wins that is going to get Oregon. SMU and Penn State is going to get Boise State. Indiana and Notre Dame is going to get Georgia. So to get back into it, I got Penn State getting a victory over SMU. In the end, I just think they're going to be too much. I think Penn State is a better football team. Coming off of a tougher schedule, getting through it, winning the Big Ten. I think that in the end, they'll be the ones that are going to end up playing Boise State. This one's going to be a little tough. I'm going to get into that one at a later time because I do think that UNLV played Boise tough to the point where you heard me parading on this podcast talking about UNLV. I want that rematch. I want my leg back. They ended up getting worked out. It didn't work out the way that I thought. But there's film out there that wish it took 32 carries for him to get barely 120 yards, 30 yards in the first game. And I just don't believe that Boise's quarterback is good enough to withstand a team like Penn State. Even if they get past them, I just don't really see them being able to do real damage. I think Ashton Jeanty, and I'll get into it in a little bit when it comes to the Heisman, I think that he's had a hell of a year, did some phenomenal things, probably will go down as the greatest Boise State running back, should go down as the greatest Boise State running back in school history, but I just don't see it being anything where he's going to – I don't think he's good enough to withstand loading the box from these high-caliber schools. And so, in the end, I got Tennessee versus Ohio State. Oh, man, this is tough. I think because the homer in me makes me want to go for Ohio State. But at the same time, I think Ohio State, I'm surprised at how highly ranked and how well we played this year. I didn't think, because of our quarterback play, I didn't think that we would be this good. So I believe Tennessee has the better quarterback. So in the end, I am going to go against my team and go Tennessee to play Oregon in the next round. And we'll see what happens from there. So in the end, I got Texas going up against Arizona State. I got Tennessee going up against Oregon. I got Penn State beating SMU to go up against Boise. And with that last matchup, I got Indiana upsetting Notre Dame to face Georgia. One of the things I thought was interesting when it came to this whole thing in this playoff run or college football playoff is the fact of Bama didn't make it. I think that there was definitely some things that could have been tweaked. It was some conversations that could have been had. I would have loved to see a Miami offense going up against some of these better, a higher level of competition. Unfortunately, Cam Ward wasn't able to lead the troops enough. The defense was terrible this year for Miami. When Cam Ward is putting up 38, 40 points and you lose 42-40 or 41-38, it just sucks. And I just don't think that Bama had enough, which is understandable. You go from Nick Saban to a brand new coach and you lose a lot of people, but you get some people to come back, recommit, and be able to really go after it this year. I think they had I think they overachieved in the end. We'll see what happens. I think that he's got something there in Bama, being able to follow in Nick Saban's shadow, but I just don't think that they were good enough this year to be in that playoff. And so I mentioned it earlier, AP is up for the Raiders are terrible this year. And the one thing that I hate to see for him is this to be his opportunity and to be fired. So the question is, should AP be fired? I absolutely disagree with anybody who believes that he should be fired. And so I just feel like, and Ocho Cinco made this analogy, it's like driving a car without a steering wheel. In order to really be able to do anything in the league in today's age of football, you need a quarterback. And when you get rid of Derek Carr before he even gets to the team, he gets on the team, you bring in Garoppolo, Garoppolo's trash, McDaniels is trash, fired, now you take over the team. At no point in those times have you given him a quarterback. Now, whether or not he was in charge or in the one who made the decision maker on some of the decisions as far as coaching, because I do believe our season was doomed the moment we hired Luke Getsy and weren't able to secure Cliff Kingsbury, which, regardless of the matter, you're really doing that hire for a future thing because you don't have a quarterback right now. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ritter, they're just not going to get the job done. It is what it is at this point. And the thing that I hate for AP is that he's going to be judged off of that when really he never really had an opportunity. I've been saying it all year. When you watch their games, they're in the game, and then it's just the defense gets tired. Then they just get ran over. Now the game gets blown open, and after like midway through the third quarter, and now the game is over. And so getting rid of Josh Jacobs, who made that decision, if that was an AP decision, then there are certain decisions that I get why you would put the blame on him, but I just don't feel like those, knowing the way that typically it works when it comes to general managers and a coach like an AP, who is very much like Dan Campbell, they're just a motivator of men, leader of men. I don't see them as these amazing defensive minds or amazing offensive minds. I think that they, when having the pieces around them, they're able to rile up the troops in a way that is able to get things done. Now, Detroit Lions and their organization was patient with Dan Campbell. Will Mark Davis be this patient with Antonio Pierce? I hope so. I'm praying. Mark Davis, please. And I don't trust your decision making because of that hairstyle, that haircut. You've been getting this same haircut since '82. But please don't fire AP. Give him this year. Tank it out. Go get Shador or Cam. Hopefully we can get Shador. I prefer Shador. I think he's a little bit better prospect than Cam Ward is. But either one of them will suffice. And let's go back at it next year, retooled with better weapons. And then if we have a bad season like we did this year again, then at that point, I would understand the decision being made. But right now, where we stand, I don't believe that AP got a good enough chance to be able to succeed at the position and as a head coach, pretty much. And so the NBA has done a new All-Star game format. Let me pull up the deets while I'm getting to it. So it'll be 4 teams in total, 4-team tournament. The winner of the Rising Stars tournament, if you've noticed, they went to this same format a couple years ago. I actually kind of like it in that realm, to where now they're doing it in the NBA All-Star game on Sunday. 4 teams, 3 teams of 8. Whoever is the winner from the Rising Stars game will play. The winner will be in this tournament as well. And do you like the format? I feel like at some point you gotta try. You gotta try something. In the end, the negative comments that I've been seeing, I don't necessarily believe it's the fault of the commissioner and the people of the NBA. In the end, this all falls down on the players. And to hear the players speak negative about it, I just feel like it's y'all fault. We've been trying to do whatever it is to keep the games competitive, and they haven't been competitive. I think they gave up. I think they scored between the two. I think it was almost 300 points last year. If not, almost 400 points was scored last year. And I seen this stat where it was like 94% of the shots were either threes or in the paint. And it's just like nobody's playing defense. Nobody's really caring. The one thing that I do think that could happen and it depends on who ends up being in the game from the Rising Stars team. Is the Rising Stars team, this is their moment to shine. Some of them may never get an opportunity to play in an all-star game. Put them, and they get to play on Sunday where the all-star game would take place. And I don't have a problem with it. I would like to see how this pans out, how this works. There's some things now, rather or not the events leading up to that's after the Rising Stars and before not pretty much Saturday, let's put it that way. Some of those things need to be revamped. I liked what they did with the Steph and Sabrina thing. I think one thing I would like to see that they used to do back in the day was like they would do a legend from a team that had pretty much, let's just say like the Lakers have the Sparks. That's in LA. You would grab a legend from the Lakers, a current Lakers player, and then a player from the Sparks, put them against other teams in other cities, do like shoot from different spots on the court. I like that one. I think in this day and age, shooting is a little bit more exciting than some of the other things because of the ability to do it and the way that the shots look. That they got to do something about revamping Saturday, because I think they start off with a good thing on Friday. Some of Saturday is good, and then Sunday ends up being where it goes downhill from there. So they got to do something. I appreciate them for trying. It is what it is. It sucks that it's gotten this far, but it's the players' fault. And so I brought it up earlier. I think I forgot to write it in here. Dang, my fault, y'all. Well, Travis Hunter wins the Heisman. And it leads a lot of people have been asking the question, was Jeanty robbed? And I say no. I don't think that he was robbed. I think when we really think about it, it's one of those things like when Russell Westbrook won the MVP. Yes, did he have the numbers that James Harden had? No, because I think James Harden eclipsed him by points, by like 5-6 points, and was very close to him in all the rest of the other numbers. But the mere fact that he had done something that hadn't been done since the 70s is, we're looking at history here. And I think that when it comes down to it, hold on real quick. When it comes down to it, I think that Travis Hunter did something that we had never seen before. Yeah, have we seen people play wide receiver, cornerback, and even kick returner all at the same time? We've seen Charles Woodson do it. We've seen Champ Bailey do it. We saw Dory Jackson do it. But to the degree in which Travis Hunter was able to do this is why I say he deserved every bit of praise that he got, every award he's got this year. He had an All-American year on defense. Comes to show, he was the best player on defense. Got that award. Then he was the best player on offense to a certain degree. I think given the whole package, I don't have a problem with him winning the award because of he was doing it on both sides of the ball. Now, when you go and you actually watch Colorado, and I hate the whole argument that people are like, oh, well, he wasn't doing it against nobody. Boise State is number 3 in rankings, and they play in the Mountain West. Their best opponent in their division was UNLV, and UNLV's been trash until last year. And we were ranked this year. So and they did go up against Oregon. They lost by a field goal, but it is what it is. Like, I just feel like people pick and choose when they want to use those types of arguments. And so I think that what Travis did this year is nothing short of phenomenal. I think 14 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 92 receptions, 4 interceptions, and 11 pass deflections. When you watch the game, it's kind of like they avoid Travis Hunter unless they really absolutely have to throw the ball to that side. And there's a play that's circulating where he starts off in man-to-man, backs out, shuts down a slant, cuts off the crossing man, makes a play on the ball, and intercepts the ball on a person on a short hitch. And those are the things that are phenomenal. I forget what team it was. He makes a tackle before he gets into the end zone, fumble, they win the game. That's the game-saving tackle. And it's certain things like that that I don't feel like people are looking at. And he's also getting an interception in the game and then going out and scoring 2 touchdowns and 10 catches, 150 yards, while also doing all of that in the same game. And I just don't feel like people are valuing that part. I feel like too often people want to hate on something and they look for the negative part of it. What we've seen Ash and Jeanty do this year was nothing short of phenomenal, but I've also seen it before. And that same person didn't win. Melvin Gordon in 2014 had 2,700 total yards and 32 touchdowns, and he lost to Marcus Mariota. And in the end, it just was one of those things where they gave it to the quarterback. In that moment, did I believe that Melvin Gordon should have won? Yes. But using that as a parameter, just because you have this crazy year in a poor conference doesn't mean that you're the one that should get these awards. But one thing that kind of scares me is now the next level. What does he do when he gets to the NFL? Because Melvin Gordon probably had 1 or 2 years in the NFL that was good, and after that he went downhill. Getting that many carries on your body at such a – you only have so many. I feel like it's a certain amount of carries that you're going to get until it's a wrap on your body. And so I don't have a problem with Travis winning the Heisman. I think that he had a hell of a year. I think that but doing something that we've never seen done in history to the degree that he was doing it is what ended up pushing him over the top. And I don't have a problem with it. And so with the last little bit of time I got left, we're going to do some 2-minute drills. First off, NBA, high school, college, any kid that's watching, I understand what Steph has done to the three-point shot, but also growing up, certain coaches would tell certain players, you're open for a reason. Just because you can shoot because you're open doesn't mean you should shoot because you're open for a reason. In the end, I think that too often nowadays we're looking at, like the Celtics, for instance, Peyton Pritchard, White are both shooting more threes than Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. And we both know and understand. I don't even got to tell you that they're not the shooters that those two players are. But for some reason, they're shooting 10 threes a game. And the one thing that I enjoy about KD and Steph that people don't give them the credit for is their ability to hit the mid-range jumper. Be able to get in the mid-range, use the ability that they can stretch the floor to be able to get the defense to react and be able to get that mid-range, get to the rim, get to the free throw line. And I don't think that – I just feel like in this day and age, we've fallen so in love with the three-point shot that I'm just tired of seeing it. And it's also a very contributing factor to the fact of why people don't want to watch and why the ratings are down. And then next up, this boy Caleb. Caleb, you gotta fix it, bro. Like, as a person, as I'm getting older, I played in sports. I'm a store manager now. When you're the leader, there's certain things from an emotional standpoint that you gotta be able to hold your tongue, keep your composure, and lead the troops. Falling on the side, you all on the sideline, just like, just going through it. Like, what are you doing, bro? This is not you're throwing a temper tantrum, and you're the one playing like trash. And that's the thing for me, man. I just like we got rid of. I say we. I'm from Chicago, so I'm a Raider fan, but I'm a Bears fan when they're not playing the Raiders fan. So I say we would take it with a grain of salt. But they get rid of Justin Fields. All right, that's another story. You bring in Caleb. Caleb is not having as bad a season as people make it seem, But when you watch the games, he's not affecting the game in a way that he has the weapons to be able to do so if he can just play within the confines of the offense. 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. He's holding the ball for way too long, highest sacked in the league. You see him throw certain throws, and it's like, bro, what are we doing here? And in the end, you throwing these hissy fits on the sideline only makes you look bad because you're the one playing like trash. Caleb, fix the body language. Really, really, truly work on that. Look in the mirror and get it together. You gotta fix it. Before I get up out of here, gotta send a shout out to my girl Asia. If you know me, you know how much I love me some Asia Wilson. But she signed a 6-year contract extension with Nike, putting her up there. I use the quotes because that what was quoted. Putting her up there with the likes of CeCe, Sabrina, and Juju. Caitlin Clark is supposed to be making about 28 million from her contract. So shout out to Asia for getting that big bag. We all know, and it's been documented, the W does not make the money, or the players don't make the money that the NBA players make, but getting that 30 mil coming off of a third MVP, she wins another one. That would put her in the lead for the most MVPs in the league. Right now, she's tied with Lauren Jackson, Lisa Leslie, and Cheryl Swoops. And I love it. I told people when we first got the Aces how excited I was to be getting them. Our first pick was Asia. So just the growth in the city, watch her as a player continue to grow. Definitely the best player in the league. Anybody say anybody else, they tweaking because she's just the best all-around player. And she's starting to get to the point where her game is always expanding to the point where now she's hitting threes. If she can get to the point where she's hitting 3 to 4 threes a game or at least shooting around 35, 38% from three, it's a wrap for the rest of the league. We just got to be able to build a team around her. So shout out to Asia. I appreciate you all for watching. Like I mentioned before, make sure subscribe. Hit that subscribe button while you're here. Subscribe at Juke Network on YouTube. Follow us at Juke Network on Facebook. Once I get to 100 followers, I will take everything from the He Say, She Say channel over to Juke Network. So help me out. On Twitch, I'm trying to get to 50 followers, subscribers. I forget which term they use. But hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button while you're here. Help me get to 50 followers on Twitch. I'm trying to become a Twitch affiliate. Within the next 6 months, I'm giving myself that goal. I will be hopping off here and hopping back on probably in the next 30 minutes, but it's going to be a gaming stream. Me and my brother are going to smoke and play Overcooked. But thank you all for watching. I do got to get up out of here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Stay trippy.